Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Paranormal Talk. Sorry, we're running a little late tonight. We was fiddling around with gadgets. Actually, we were just playing around with streaming. That's what we were doing. But I hope y'all enjoyed Riders of the Future. That was on before us with John Goodwin. John's always a lot of fun. Y'all better be sure to vote for him next year for People's Choice because I know his podcast will be up again. I have no doubt about that already. So be sure to go vote for him. Be sure to vote for all of us. Speaking of that, I haven't even looked to see if we won or not yet. So I'll have to check on that pretty soon too. But there was five strong shows I was competing with, which is kind of interesting. Everybody, hello there, Amelia. Nice to see that. But still, it's a weird thing. Tonight we're going to be talking about souls in general. What is a ghost? Not so much what is a ghost, but why some things hang out and don't seem to move on, or even when you move them on, they seem to drift back or things like that. Because some of the hauntings in Louisiana always weird me out because I've seen some pretty good people who do clear and come down and clear them, and it's gone. And then you go on this old plantation, you're like, yeah, it's cool. And then 3, 4, 5 months, they seem to like drift back in. First, I thought maybe they were being brought in by somebody, but they just seem to. Maybe it's like almost like a magnetic attraction to it. Maybe that's where they want to be, so they just seem to get back there one way or another. Maybe it's like the thing that some people want to go back to jail because they don't know any other life. Maybe it's the same thing. I have no idea. It's a weird thing. But anyway, I have Michelle DeRoche hanging out with me tonight, and I think Amelia said she's going to join us in a while. Michael is working. I haven't heard back from Laura, so I guess it will just be us tonight. We haven't brought the rookies on yet either, so because there's a few rookies that they just don't need to be here yet. We'll just say it like that. So anyway, how you doing, Michelle? Everything's good.
Things are good for a Monday.
And for Monday, I hear that. I hear my other alarm in the other room from time to
I
time.
hear that little teeny alarm.
She's a man. Well, she's not allowed in the studio because it cost me a bunch of money. When she sneaks in today, all of a sudden she's just tearing ass through here. I'm like, what the hell? She looks like a little rat just running underneath anything. I'm like, oh man, I hope she didn't get anything. Then she's down the hallway. And she was running. She didn't know I was staying there. She was gonna run back in the room. I was staying there. Said to redirect herself. She's in there tearing up baby girl right now. That's with two doors shut. You can hear a little yapping. So.
You need like a baby gate or a little puppy gate just to
Well,
keep
I
her from
got
coming
one.
in.
It
Yeah.
is, but sometimes she'll sneak under and run by. The first time we put the two gates, now she climb over it if she wants to. So she's a climber. She's got them razor sharp little claws that climb everything. We're just talking about chihuahuas, people. Anybody don't have a chihuahua, shame on you. Is all I
You
can say.
should. You should have
You
one. They're
know,
adorable.
my wife and I were talking about German Shepherds today and how pretty. And I said, yeah, German Shepherds just a giant chihuahua is all they are. Lots of attitudes. Damn Doberman might be that too as well.
But
Because
they're the opposite because they think they're a little dog and want to sit on your lap. Then you
oh
got
yeah.
the little chihuahua that thinks it's a Rottweiler and wants nothing to do with you.
So, and
It's like,
that's how Lola's going to be. She's going to think she see, baby girl knows she's not a big dog. She's a little scary dog. Charlie never knew. Max never had no idea he was 5 pounds. But I don't think Lola's going to know she is either. She has no fear whatsoever. She just runs and runs and anything. She's already got in trouble 2 or 3 times for being outside trying to jump out the car and stuff.
ooh,
She got her first spanking the other day. I don't know what it was she
ooh,
did. I was like, I forgot what it
spanking the
was.
baby.
Whoa, sorry about that.
Oh, it's loud.
Sorry about that. Oh, I know what that is. I'm supposed to be talking to them tonight. I will have to call them back later on. Sorry, guys. I thought I had that turned off. I apologize. That
Boom,
is
boom,
that noisy
boom.
ring on that Apple iPhone. Anybody want an iPhone 12? Let me know. You want an iPhone 12? I'll give you a damn thing. I'm going back to Droid where civilized people go. Oh my God.
Ooh,
Apple's like being in the dark
fighting
ages.
words.
I'm telling you, it's like being in the dark age just because you ain't been on a droid in a long time.
Oh,
Whoa, man, I thought I just turned that off,
somebody
man.
can't take no for an answer.
I thought I just turned that off.
Put them off in
Uh,
ghosty land.
yeah, well, because she's calling it at her time. I told her 7 my time. It's only 5 my time. She's a little confused.
Mm,
But it happens sometimes. But walking in some of these places downtown or out by the plantations, and a couple of guys a couple of weeks ago we were talking about. He said, "Well, aren't the plantations in the city?" I said, "No, the plantation quite a ways down the river from the city, uh, and they really are. The Myrtles are probably 30, 35 miles. Quite a few of them are 50, 75 miles from the city itself. Most of the nicer ones are actually as you're going up towards Baton Rouge, but all of
mm.
them are haunted. You only ever hear about the Myrtles, but all of them are haunted. And some of them are quite big and quite beautiful. And it's like Beauvoir Manor up here. They're always up here doing investigations. That's where the president of the Confederacy used to live. And it's got one of the biggest graveyards from the battlefield of the Civil War behind it. So you know it's haunted.
But
Uh,
with everything that goes on in your neck of the woods, like New Orleans itself, the state of Louisiana, come on. You guys have been just ravaged so many times just by weather alone. I would seem to think it would be hard to pinpoint an exact location to be haunted. Like, I mean, it's all freaking haunted.
yeah, well, a lot of it is. Well, all the old city is for sure. When
Right.
people ask me, they said, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, the old city's 300 plus years old.
Mm,
So of course it's been burnt down twice. No God only knows how many people died in each one of those fires. It's been underwater at least three times.
hmm
So and then the slave trade went through there, and then there was gambling. Of course, there was dueling oaks where you could go duel, slap somebody in the face and go have a duel, and which was interesting because dueling oaks is weird. I've been there, and sometimes you get this eerie, weary feeling. Even sometimes it's like you catch a glimpse of something walking between the trees, like the
hmm
trustees or something. But then you go out there sometimes, and it's just quiet. No breeze, no noise, no itchy feelings, no nothing.
mm,
Just quiet. It's a weird. But anytime the weather's active out there, you almost always see something. I mean, you almost always see something when the weather's active.
hmm
It gets a little crazy in the dark. It's just it's a weird, and then it's another weird thing when you drive as you're driving through the park because the whole damn park is haunted. Um, you'll see like it'll crackle lightning, and you could swear you see somebody standing in the yard, or standing in the field, or standing in the room, or standing on one of the monuments. And there's so much weird stuff out there to start off with, and then plus you got to worry about the park people. The park actually has live alligators in it, big ones, not just little ones. They have big alligators out there. It's actually a great park to go fishing in, but you got to be careful because there are alligators out there. And in nighttime, alligators do. People got this thing. Oh, alligators don't move around at night. My ass. You go out there and get closer and see if you don't come after you. But so
mm.
you got to worry about that as well. And then you get these weird feelings. There's one part of the park. It used to be they used to have an exhibit. I think it was a seal exhibit, and they had built this like Roman columns around it. Well, now they've changed it. They've closed it up, and where you go sit out there, now it's like Lover's Lane or something. Everybody who goes out there tells you they see something. Everybody. And then Ottoman Park, and people always talk about City Park. City Park's a big park. Ottoman Park's not near as big, but Autumn is the original park. It's on the edge of the city, up against the river, so you can hop in. I'm going to kill a little dog in a minute. It's so you you can actually, if you want, you can hop on in New Orleans, hop on the steamboat, ride it up to the park, get off at the park, go down, walk through all of that. They take you all throughout there. You go if you like horseback riding, you actually go horseback riding in that park. That's where the big asteroid came down. They got it up on stand so you can see it. It's a crazy place, and it is haunted as all hell. I have never gone out there at night. I haven't seen something weird. Never. And it's weird because right on so if you're facing the river, all the left side and right side of the park is just nothing but really extremely wealthy homes. I mean, extreme. We're talking million and a half dollar homes. Just then the front
Mm.
side of the park is St. Charles Avenue, of course. One of the most famous streets in Louisiana. So everybody goes up there. There's three colleges on there. Everybody's house out there is at least $1 million or more like $2 million or more. But it's a weird area. So the park's kind of contained. It crosses over St. Charles to a certain extent, but it's kind of contained in this area, and it is haunted. And you'll be out there, people be out there jogging. They got big tracks running through everywhere, walk and jog, and every night you hear somebody scream. And you're like, what the hell? And they seen something, or something approached them. A lot of times you will hear women say something. They thought a man had approached them, like they were going to put their hand on them or something. But when they opened their eyes back and they screamed, there was nothing there. You know, it's a
Why do you
weird.
think that is? Why do you think? I mean, I can understand. Like maybe we should think about why spirits remain behind. You know, I mean, you're 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 looking at an unbelievable amount of spirits. I would think because of everything that's going on there. Just Civil War itself.
Oh yeah.
Not counting all the natural disasters or natural deaths or people who just
Well, think about it.
love to
Before the
say,
park was there, it was just a swamp where they probably used to go throw people and bury their asses when they killed them somewhere. That's probably another reason the park is haunted. And then
Right.
something about the asteroid. Oh, I shouldn't say asteroid, the meteor. Um, there's something weird about it because they say there's two. There's a woman who likes to walk around it and then sit on the bottom of it, and then there's a man for some reason. They say who will come walking down from the river, approach the meteor, and then turn around and leave. Now, what's weird about that is back in the day when they used to come from the river, there was no meteor there. It hadn't been put there yet. It was still
Mm.
buried or wherever it was. They hadn't actually put it up on a stand yet. So I'm assuming they were coming for another reason, not for this particular woman. This particular woman seemed to be familiar with it.
Mm.
And then some nights you'll come up and okay, so here's where the meteor is. And they get a little blacktop street that's covered back down, goes through the park and kind of meanders, and then it heads to St. Charles. When you come up, you got to drive real slow. It's like 10, 15 miles an hour. And you also got to watch for horses.
Mm.
And she'll be standing there right on the right in the curve of the road. It's like one of them old stories, you know. Oh, you know the woman who was walking in the rain in a curved road in her prom dress. It's almost the same story, except this woman's been seen in three locations in the park.
Mm. Hey,
Hello,
Bubbles.
what you doing,
Hello,
Bubbles?
thank you. I wrote 5 years instead of thank you in your message box. How are you guys?
Good.
We're
We're
good. What are you
good.
doing?
Pardon?
Yeah.
I said we're good. What you doing?
Oh, it just cleaned up a mess. But yeah, so had tradespeople at
Well,
my
you
house all
missed out.
bloody
We
day.
had you missed out. We had both the male and female Chippendales in here a little while ago.
Oh, I
You
would
might
have
see
loved the
Michelle's face. It
female.
was like purple.
Yeah. No, I actually
I'm like,
have a
what?
great deal of respect for strippers.
Some of
I
them.
do. Sorry to disappoint you. It's not going to catch me off guard. I actually have a great deal of respect. I find that they're incredible athletes.
Some of them.
Yeah, some of them. Some of them.
Some of them actually have other careers, and some actually have raising kids and going to college, and some are well, some of them well. We're not going to say what the
Yes.
other ones are.
Yes.
So you got any ghosties walking around your house up there?
Oh, always.
I'm hoping we'll see the ghost of pink shorts in the near future, but you can only hope.
Oh, don't even take me there today,
I
seriously.
wore
I
my
just
pink
read
shirt
too
just
much news
so because
today. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I've been reading too many news clips. I don't even want to go there unless it's
Actually,
paranormal.
I gotta honestly say, for the last 2 months, I've been pretty much staying away from the news. Every now and then, because I have so many news feeds, things just pop up on my computers or pop up on my phones. But a lot of times I just ignore them now, unless it's something pertinent. Because I'm tired of hearing about stupid Biden. So some guy today, I'm riding home today, and I'm listening to music, and on my phone comes on the guy talking about let's compare who was prepared more than Trump. Biden, because one of the things they hated on was Biden. Trump was not prepared. So after they get through Biden, I was like, damn. I don't know. It's just one of them things. So I leave him alone. One of them two are going to be a ghost in the near future anyway. I don't know which one's going to make it first. I'm kind of leaning towards Biden, but still,
Oh
uh,
my gosh.
I wonder if he's going to haunt the White House. Now that's a haunt.
There
Let's see.
are people
I
who
know
haunt the
there's
White
several
House.
ghosties in the
There's
White House.
several presidential ghosts there.
Yeah,
Isn't Washington there too? And
they say
Lincoln's
Lincoln. And no,
ghost?
There's all
Lincoln.
kinds of
Actually,
them.
Washington haunts a different place. I don't know if because that was where the White House was originally. Was it his home or something? But he does a different place. But I know Lincoln haunts the White House. It's one of their favorites. They say Roosevelt walks around.
Yeah.
You could hear the cane and stuff like that, and sometimes you can hear the wheelchair. So it's kind of weird.
I really I wonder how many servants who served the presidents there have stayed behind because they felt such great, pride and joy in their work as well. I'm sure it's not just presidents. I'm
I
sure we
know.
have butlers and
Yeah,
all
I
kinds
can't.
of house staff that stayed behind.
There was an or I should say assistant to one of the VPs who was going to write a book, but they made her stop. And she went on a couple of radio shows and talked about it. And she said, when you're walking around at certain times of night and certain times of day, the place is beyond haunted. Matter of fact, even still to the day, she was saying that certain rooms are off limits at certain times. It's odds are you're going
Oh,
to see a ghost there.
really?
And you
And
know
they
what?
just don't want people there?
Yeah, so when you check the schedules, so yeah, those rooms are off limits. All the ones she said were haunted are off limits. So, well, if you know there's a ghost, if you're going to see Lincoln hanging out like this, going, what's up? You're going to freak out just a little bit. And a lot of people are into the ghosty thing. So what does In the Americas, there's about 1.5 billion people, so maybe 500 million are interested. When you get overseas, it's far less than that. It
Hmm.
drops. And they say in America it's less than 20%. I would agree if UFOs and paranormal and sex were in the top three things on the list on the internet. So it's just well, ufology used to be number one, but the other thing has taken over now. But still, it's
I
number
think the
two.
keto diet is up there too because I'm constantly getting those promos all over the place. But that's crazy.
So sooner or later, I'm going to catch all these people with all these spam phone calls and get them all in one place and blow them up.
Oh, you
It's
should get Truecaller. Michelle told me all about it. If they want to sponsor us, we're listening.
that's
But
right. If you get a
yeah,
sponsorship,
there's ways to get spam out. But anyways, I wonder if there's ghosts on the spam
go somewhere.
on these calls. I wonder if they're ever done.
By ghost, hey, ghosts call people all the time.
Yeah,
Or
but
I have hours and
well, I
hours
guess
of recordings of
yeah,
that.
but can you imagine picking up your cell phone and
I have done it.
but I
there?
bet
No,
you,
no,
I
no.
bet
I know
you.
you haven't. I know the fear of God in those phone calls. But I mean, can you imagine a spirit that worked as a telemarketer?
So this question was brought up to me I was giving a little mini lecture about 3 weeks ago. A mini lecture, like 3 hours anyway. One of the questions was asked to me, "Do you know anywhere that man can go that's not haunted?"
Oh,
I,
Now, the only place that I could semi say might not be was the space shuttle. I mean, not the space shuttle, the space station. And I can't even guarantee that because somebody could have died making the damn thing. So,
but haunted. Where in the rule book does it say it has to be haunted by a human spirit?
well,
It
that's
could
true too.
be. It could be anything, any type of energy that just wanders in uninvited, unseen, that is just lurking about. I mean, you're in space. It could be anything
Well,
that has the
well, it could
capability to
be,
do that.
but more than likely, since it's so close to near Earth orbit, it's probably just something. But that's the thing. No astronaut, as far as I know, has ever
Mm,
reported a ghost or a demon. But they have reported many extraterrestrial craft and stuff
yeah.
like that. Or we
Hmm.
shouldn't say extraterrestrial. We should just say bogies and leave it at that. Oh, I saw Santa Claus coming. Oh, and there goes his 7, 8 reindeer. Oh, he's got 9 reindeers tonight. Look, one's got a red nose, and that would give you a
there is a
description.
Santa. Maybe
Well,
Santa's a spirit.
oh, no, Santa's real, man. You didn't know this? I thought you knew Santa was real. Oh my god!
Oh,
So
I
you've
do.
been naughty. So if you don't know Santa personally, you have been naughty.
Okay.
I know Michelle though, because she's been very naughty. But you see, I
But
know Santa. I know he's a
I
personal
get
friend.
dragged into this. Minding my own freaking business.
Santa is. I'm just saying, Santa is a personal friend. I've even ridden the sled before.
He's a
Hey,
personal friend of yours. Now I know he's fake.
No, he's real. It can be. He's a good friend of mine.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
you want me to tell you where I met him? On board one of the spacecraft. She's an
mm.
abductee too.
What about a location like, I hate to say, you know, what happened in September because I mean, YouTube doesn't seem to like it, you
Oh,
know,
sweet too.
New York City. Let's just leave it there. Twin
Yeah.
Towers, I don't want to flag anything. But I mean, you
But
can
I don't care if you talk
imagine.
about the Twin Towers. Just don't go off of the
Yeah. I
official
mean,
spiel.
one of the theories, of course, is that you're going to have, when people die suddenly, murder, car accidents, sometimes they don't realize they're gone. They hang back. Sometimes they're stuck because they don't know how to escape being in this realm upon passing. Sometimes it's unfinished business. Sometimes it's just residual. I think this is a location that would have all four of those things.
Good.
It does, but it's not as haunted as you would think. I mean, not when I was there anyways.
Hmm.
I always
Wow.
I felt like I had a few that came forward, mostly children, um,
Hmm.
that came forward and said, "We're okay. We're safe.
This is good.
We're
Yeah.
okay." And I was really shocked because I was expecting it to be completely different. I thought that, but I don't know, it's really
Yeah.
hard
It's
to
tough.
hear
It's a tough
anything in
call.
there.
It's
It
like a
is because
battlefield.
yeah, one day you might have it, one day you might not. And
Hmm.
because they're playing the phone calls and the voices
Hmm.
of these
Yeah.
people who have passed, it's really hard to hear over that.
Mm-hmm.
when you're walking through it and absorb everything. I always said that I would go back and do it again in a different way. The first
Mm-hmm.
time it's very shocking, and it's just different. I found
Mm-hmm.
more I found but then again, the memorial is not the foundation. They've just
Right.
put things there. So
Right.
it's different. And at the memorial where the fountains are,
Mm-hmm.
tons of spirits. I feel like so many people were mourning them from the outskirts and the fences for so long. Maybe they did help them go home in a way.
Maybe. I
I'm
mean, I
going
was
out
at the
there
one
with
in
a.
Philadelphia where the plane went
That
down
one's
in the field.
different. That one's
That
a
one
whole
is
different
different.
I'm going
story.
That
to
was
both
at that
places
one. It
Yeah.
was
with a can
intense.
of. I'm going
Yeah.
to buy me a big thing of holy water and put it in one of them pump sprays and go walking around pump spray.
Where in
Be
Philadelphia
gone,
or in
be
New York
gone,
City?
everywhere. I'm going both places. I might buy 15 gallons of
That's
holy water.
funny because I did
It's a
have
ghosty
holy
behind.
water in my purse because I was at St. Patrick's. So yeah, I did have
I was
it with
amazed
me,
that you
but
could buy
not on
holy water in
purpose.
bulk.
Not on purpose. But I was really shocked. I was expecting to get knocked around a lot more. But then again, I was a mess myself. So
It's I don't know. I've been a lot of places that I thought would have been way more haunted than they were, like Chelmsford Battlefield. There's so many. See, that's what's weird. Living in the north, living in the south in this country, there's not very many battlefields in the north, but there are several from the middle of the country down.
Mm.
Just in Alabama alone, there's like 50. Um, it's just skirmish lines where they were fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. There's a lot of boys died up in those swamps. A lot of boys died all along those things on both sides. It's a sad little thing. And then down here, that was the remnants of Battle 1812, which ended up being 1814 down here. And the Redcoats got their asses handed to them. I think that we lost like 7, 8 people or something. They
Mm.
lost 4,000, and none of them left without being wounded. The Indians taught us how to ambush you. The Brits were used to fighting, playing their drums and marching head into each other. No, like we don't fight like that. They were waiting buried in mounds, and it's a big field. And but the main house never felt haunted to me. I don't know why, I just didn't. And certain parts of the field did, but some parts of the field didn't feel like anything. For as many people who died out there, you would have thought. But I guess some of them just were ready to go. They're like, "Well, I died. Gotta kill him out of here."
Mm.
Because who
I
wouldn't
think
do?
some of them still have a sense of duty, when
yeah.
let's face it, soldiers, there is that sense of duty. It's sometimes very sudden. It was really barbaric. Sometimes you did not see it coming in a lot of cases, but maybe, I mean, I don't know. I've been to battlefields. Gettysburg's one of them. I've been to some in and around Europe. They're very intense.
Mm-hmm.
They're really intense. It's
They
really hard to, rhyme or reason. Again, some of them still are stuck in the time. They're still fighting.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Jeannie.
Especially when there's a million reenactments.
That
Yeah,
doesn't
there
help
are.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Like
reenactments.
cheapers. So you're just
I
reliving
like
it
the
and
ones where
forcing them to relive it.
I like the
Mm-hmm.
reenactments where the South wins.
I don't like reenactments.
A friend of mine.
I wish I could protest that crap down the street, but I can't.
Well, you can protest anything you want.
Yeah,
Mm.
right. By myself.
Yeah, you
Look
can.
how much support they have.
Believe it or not, I have seen one
Yeah.
person protest before without flags.
No.
I seen it with flags and stuff. I seen one guy that was with fireworks and flags and stuff. He was having a good old time. He's crazy as
Yeah.
could be.
The last lady that protested by herself here got hit by a transport truck. Remember
Yeah,
the one that was protesting in front of the slaughterhouse?
you gotta be paying attention. Well, yeah, they probably
Hey,
set her up.
Lori.
They were like,
Yeah.
let's run him over. Let's run it. Let's kill,
Yeah.
die, kill. Why the hell my screen keeps fizzling around here?
I
See, I
know.
got a ghost. I got a ghosty in my computer. You know how to get in the it's look at it. See, we can't be talking about ghosties apparently because my screen is like doing this.
Just might be. Yeah.
I am the ghost from JoJo's computer. Haha.
Is
What do
that
you
the
mean?
topic tonight? Ghosties?
We're really talking about lost souls. People who seem sometimes you get rid of them, but they come back, or people who just don't want to leave,
Hmm.
or really too why. I mean, it's a good one. It's so when you pass, what would it take for you to stay behind and not go into the bright, beautiful light?
Hmm.
What would it take for me to stay behind?
Yeah, what it would, because for me it's weird that there's so many spirits walking around. Because we're all raised a certain way, and we all know about the different gods and different religions and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
for I know there's a section of ghosties that don't know they're staying behind, that they don't know they're dead,
yeah.
and I know some of this is just energy that was left behind, and it's just looping around. But for the other 50% that stay, I wonder why they do it. I mean, so were you watching a loved one here when you got loved ones on the other side, or you just can't give it up? You're not ready to go, or what the hell it is?
Well, it's like Michelle said, unfinished business could be traumatic. Could be you don't know you've passed.
But that's what I'm saying. Well,
You
no, yeah,
know, like
we're
I
leaving
know
them
what
out
would
of
keep
it.
me. What would keep me is my daughter. But I do know that if I
Oh, I
send,
can
I
hear it
can
now.
come
She'd be
back.
like,
I
"Mom,
am
cross
aware of
over
that.
already." I
Yeah,
hear you doing that.
but I am aware that I can cross over and come back.
I
Some
see.
people
See,
aren't.
that
It
is, I
depends on
don't.
your
Nah,
belief
I got issues
system.
with that right off the bat. I just got issues with that. What
Why?
is God sleeping or something? Or the angels on strike? Look, I mean, what the hell's going on? Somebody need to be watching the gate and the damn doors. You're in heaven now. You can't leave. Now, see, purgatory, I can understand. If you've been a bad person, you ain't going to heaven, and you're stuck in purgatory, I can see you coming back and forth. Yeah, even if you go to hell, I can't see you coming back and forth. But just in purgatory, I can see that. But when you cross the other side, man, he ain't letting you out. He's like, "You here now, buddy? You're
But
mine. Get your
you would
ass
have
down.
to
Kneel, sit,
believe in
stand. Kneel, sit, stand."
purgatory. You would have to
No,
believe in
no,
it.
not really. You don't really. If it's something the universe creates and something we're not aware
Yes,
of,
but
it's
we
just
don't know for sure.
yes. But I know for sure. I've been over
Okay.
there. I've been there. I can't.
Some
I,
would
I
say we're
guess.
walking purgatory now.
Oh, I look, for a long time. I believed this was purgatory. For a
Yeah.
long time, I believed Earth was purgatory. But then I met entirely too many really, really, really good people. So I realized, no, it's not purgatory. These people don't belong here with the rest of us poor bastards. And on the other hand, there have been some really, 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 really evil people that have been around as well. Laura Lee, you know how to get in, right? Just pop in, because I don't. I'd have to get up and move over to get to my computer to get to my mousies. Um,
Mousy ghosties.
hey, are you sassing me, woman? I know where you live now.
No.
Oh, speaking of that, now, so the other day I'm talking about you, and not in a
What?
bad way. It was a good thing, not a bad thing. So I was actually cooking, and I was saying something about,
Oh,
yeah, you sent me these and sent me these. I said I was trying something you sent me, and so my daughter-in-law's over here. She said, "Oh, well, what are these?" I said, "Get off them." She stole. She took two of them home with her. I'm like,
the
get.
garlic or the
Yeah,
onion? I can't
she
remember.
took one. Well, no, she took whatever it was. Whatever you sent me four of last time, she took two of. And I
She
was
took
like,
two of your garlics.
yeah. I said, stay off of my. I said, girl, she's come all the way from Canada. I said, you gonna fly there and get me some more now? She's like,
Yeah,
no.
you can't get it in the States. You have to
She's like, I'm
order
like,
it.
get out. And then
Yeah.
she calls me the other day because she don't use like a bottle and a half of this already. She calls me the other day. She's like, can I get some more? I said, not for me, you can't. I said, get off. I said, mine's in the closet. Stay away from it. Because, I got
Oh,
you too.
wow.
I
How
probably
did you
got,
go through it so fast?
because they cook a lot. And
I would
see,
fly. That's dried garlic. That's intense.
yeah,
Wow.
well, I got ghosties in my house and vampires. So I can't cook garlic all the time. They get upset. But they're like, leave, Joe, if you're going to eat that kind
That's
of
so
stuff.
funny. Yeah, everybody loves that stuff.
Oh, this is on a weird
She's on
side note.
holidays. She's on holidays.
So
Yeah, because I tried to
on
get 2 bottles for myself.
so she said, I'm out here. I'm on vacation. So weird, freaky story. I'm down the quarter with some friends drinking one night. We stopped over at this little restaurant and had dinner, and I got this really garlicky steak. It's really good, too. So I probably smelled like a big garlic. we turned this corner, and this woman just came up, was going to bite me in the neck. She said, oh, my God, you're trying to kill me? She looked like a fucking vampire. Ooh, excuse my language. She really looked like a vampire. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. And she didn't even look at anybody else. I was like, what's going on here, man? But they do have the old rumors that they like to come suck people's blood down there so they can get high or get
Not
buzzed. And
garlic blood.
no, not barley blood. No, they probably make them
Isn't
burst
garlic
into flame.
nice though with them?
Where'd you go, Laura Lee? I thought you just popping in. What did I lose
And
her?
when they say they're undead, right, or whatever. But if you kill a vampire, does a vampire become a ghost?
Yeah, I wonder. That's a good question.
right? Because all the films, you drive a stake through its heart, or the werewolves, you shoot them with a silver bullet. But do they have a spirit? I know they're soulless, but what happens to them?
And I'm not 100% sure that a vampire is actually soulless, especially if it was a force made. Meaning,
Yeah.
like, and I always loved the vampires, girls or guys, who bite their loved ones and then 100 years later want to kill them, or 500 years later want to kill them, or something. Why did I do that? How stupid was I? And then, of course, there's the depends on what vampire bites you, what your strength levels are and stuff like. It's like almost like a video game. Because
It's like a video game
well, it
that
is. Think
rely on
about it.
strength
So
levels. What the hell?
if
What is
like the
that
first
about?
think about it, if the first vampire bites you, you're like a badass vampire. But like if somebody he bit and somebody else he bit and so on, so on, so on, so on,
Oh,
done
so
like a
it's
hundred
like
times.
it gets diluted, is what you're
It does.
saying, as
Well, that
the
they say that.
strength.
That's what the vampires say.
It's almost as bad as dimensional bleed through.
Dimensions be through rocks. Even your own guys put it on you the other night. It rocks. We can't help it. It's
Never
the
said
most.
I don't believe in it. I'm just saying
We can't
sometimes
help
it's
it. It's the
something
most
else too.
plausible explanation. Like all those genius science people understand that's what this really is. But see, this is what bothers me about this. That's actually worse than ghosties. That means
Maybe.
somewhere else, there's a live version of me that may not actually agree with what I agree with. I'm not liking that.
Mm.
I'm not liking that idea. But I'm sure there's parallel dimensions. I'm sure there's all kind of dimensions. Um,
Yes, I'm
That is
sure.
so
Well, we
funny.
know there are. We've
what
Oh,
already
happens if
sorry, that was
ghosties?
me.
It's
talked
okay.
about that.
So what happened if ghosties have their own dimension?
Well, maybe ghosties are in different dimensions.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe
Hmm.
they live right outside of our dimension, and when the veil's all rubbing up against it, they can cross over. I
Well, it's
don't
like a
know.
multiverse. What if you are in a different universe and you die in that universe? Would your spirit stop in that dimension, so to speak, or universe? Or, you know what I mean? Like maybe there's 10 Joe ghosts running around.
It might be.
Oh God,
Sure, I've come, I've,
poor
I've come
Linda.
We're
close
all
to
in trouble.
I've come close to biting a big one a few times. Tell April,
Shit.
I have
Poor
really.
Linda.
There have
Linda's like,
been
oh God.
there's been at least a dozen
Linda's
times in my
thinking,
life.
I did not sign up for that.
But we've
Yeah,
actually
I
talked
signed
about that
one
before.
marriage certificate.
Uh, well, we've actually talked about that before because there's been several times in my life, right? Like we were talking. I was talking with a friend of mine about the stint the other day. He said, "Well, in another dimension, you might not have recognized it." That's right. And I would have been dead before Christmas. I said, "Lots of dimensions, I may not have recognized it, and that could have played out in multiple ways. Could have been a paraplegic. It's just you just don't know how it is. And there's been several times in my life that I've come really close. A couple of times
That's
where but anyway, it happens. But I got to say this though: on two occasions when I almost died, I I don't quite know how to explain it. I wouldn't say that I crossed over. It was more like it's like a old type reel to reel video flapping through my head. Wasn't my life. It wasn't like I went back in time or I was going reviewing my life. It wasn't that. It was something else. It was like in place, an area. Felt very warm, very relaxing, very like you want to go there kind of thing. Maybe I should have went back then instead of now. That's a lot of shit since then. So I don't know what it was. I don't know how to explain it. It's I've tried over the years on a couple of occasions when it's happened to put it into words, but it just didn't make no sense. I will tell you this though: each time it happened to me, it felt like my educational level went up about 5 points.
Hmm.
Um, it's really weird, or I don't know how to explain it because there's a lot of things I know that I never went to school for, or I never really talked to anybody about. But they put this in perspective. If y'all want to find out what I'm talking about, go listen to an interview I'm having with Michio Keiko. So, and then there's one before this when I'm talking about Stephen Hawking's The Universe in a Nutshell. It's a book he wrote for laymen. So I'm talking about this book all night long. I'm quoting. I've never read this book, but still to this day, I've never read this book. But I can read you front to back out of my head like I read the book. It's just there, and there's just other stuff that's just there. I don't know how it gets there. I don't know, it's a weird thing to me. But so we were talking about it. He said, "Well, how do you know what's about it?" I said, "I don't know. I've never read the book." He said, "You had to read it somewhere." He said, "Because you're quoting me pages out of the book." I said, "I have never read the book." I said, "I'll take a polygraph too. I've never read the book." I said it's one. It's not the only one either.
Hmm.
Sometimes I just have a vast amount of information in my head that I have nowhere else where it came from. And if people say, "Oh, yeah, Akashic records," no, I don't think that's what it is because I think that would be a different kind of information. This is more pertinent to everyday things that I work with and deal with. It's I don't know where it comes from. It's
Isn't
weird.
that more like an ET download?
It could be an ET download, but and usually I can tell the difference. This feels more. I don't know what it feels like. It doesn't feel like that though. It
More
just feels.
divine?
It could be divine. It could be somebody said you dumbass. Let's give you some brains in your head.
Work with me, Joe. Work with me.
I don't. I don't really. Laura Lee. I thought she's coming in. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's just one of them things that just I remember I was laying in a hospital bed and they'd say, "Oh, we don't know if he's going to make it or not." And while this was going on,
I'm
there,
waving. You just can't see me.
uh, 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 no, it's like, what do you mean you're waving? I don't even know what the hell you should talk to.
Yeah.
But
I
I
have
remember,
to turn everything off on my phone or I have audio issues, but I think I
yeah,
just figured out what the problem was. Everybody,
good
hi.
deal, good deal.
Hi.
All right, hair looks good.
Thank you.
So I was thinking when all this was going on. So I'm in the hospital 11 days, and when the lady shot me up with that shit, and she thought she killed me. I remember sitting there
Yeah.
with this weird, like I was like this buzz washed over me kind of feel, not like anything I've ever experienced before. And I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to die, at least it's really surreal feeling. And all of a sudden, there was just all kind of shit in my head. Maybe when I get close to crossing over, I have no idea where it came from. People, I wish I could honestly tell people because I've had psychics tell me this, I've had psychics tell me that, I've had people that have worked with very intuitive people who actually we share consciousness with. It freaks them out. Anybody I've had the ability to share, it just freaks them out. They're like, "Wow, it don't make any sense." It's not like it's. Matter of fact, a very fairly famous woman from New Orleans, we were doing a conscious sharing thing, and she's like, I can feel your consciousness, but this does not feel like you. This is. It's almost like someone else is living in your head. I was like, whoa, let's back up here a minute. Let's go back and think about this for a minute.
Who's in the driver's seat? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Someone else is living in your head. I want to know who.
And
Yeah.
but she said, no, she said, you're in control. She said, but it's just like, she says, it's almost like you pick up people's pieces of people's brains and put it in your hand. I'm like, well, that don't sound good either, man. None of these explanations sound good to me.
Cheapers.
And still to this day, I have.
Was she any good, or like, did you actually pay for that? How did you pay for that reading?
I was just like, really?
She got $25,000 a reading.
What?
She's good. Yeah, $25,000 a reading. She still reads. She's a good friend of mine, and she's
$25,000.
Everybody she's read
I'm
for
in
so
the
far.
wrong damn business.
There,
So
there's
everybody
gotta
she's
be
ever
some
read
kind of
for,
karmic shit for that.
yeah, everybody will
Wow.
tell you. Everybody she's read for, she's never been wrong.
Wow.
When she tells you, she reads it.
But
She
if
has
she's
to work.
telling you what you already know, why would you pay $25,000
No,
to
she's
hear what
not.
you
She's
already
not.
know?
She's not
So
telling
how
you
would
what you already know.
okay? I'm sure
telling
she's
you
great.
lots of stuff. See, for me, we weren't doing a reading. We were doing a conscious sharing. She's a good friend of mine, so we were doing a conscious sharing thing. Readings, I don't like readings to start off with, so I don't let many people do them.
Well, they're subjective.
But I've been there when she's read for some fairly big people, and not just famous people, but some big people, and she's never been wrong. She just
That's kind of
you could see people when she starts telling what's in their head, and they're looking at her like, "What the?" They're looking around like something's draining them out or something.
Kind of extortion. I mean, that's only for the rich
No,
people.
she just tells it is that it is. And you know what, Laura Lee, that's a good point because I have told her this before. I said, it's nice you're helping out the richy rich and all. And I said, but what about? I said, what about all these other people walking? She said, well, we have 5 other psychics in here, Joe. They can use anybody they want. I'm like, no, you're missing the point. She said, well, we're friends. I said, but you're still missing the point. I said, why don't you at least do a freebie every once in a while for somebody right off the street? Mm-hmm. She said, oh, you mean like when I used to read in front of Jackson Square for $25 a reading? She said, I ain't never blank doing that again. I was like, okay. Well, I just left it go after that.
Sometimes it's about paying it forward because you have to give back. I mean, give back once in a while.
She
tremendously
says
when you're making that kind of money.
She said she paid her time after 9 years of sitting in front of the
Well,
That's
shit,
going
then
from
I
your
should have
legal.
started charging $100,000 20 years ago.
Hey, you gotta make
You
money,
know, I'm
man.
just saying, I'm sure she's really good. I'm just saying, I even have an issue with mediums charging in the 5 and 600s. I have an issue. I can't imagine 25,000. It's like, wait a
Okay,
minute.
now wait a minute. I'm gonna have to fire your ass. Because
Bye, Bubbles.
even okay, all right.
Bye.
Now, unless you are somebody severely
That was
close to me,
harsh.
a really good friend, I charge $2,500 for a reading.
Yeah,
So,
I just personally, and I know like people say to me, well, you can do that. Your life permits that. And that's not true because I was doing it before.
but I do a
So
lot of readings too, on the well for free. So I either charge. It depends who it is too, because I got a lot of friends that are wealthy. I got a lot of friends that are not. So I go both ways, and I don't ever tell the wealthy people.
Do you know? That's good to know.
Hey, man, you go all three ways, so don't even say ask me.
Whatever. Just saying.
I'm
You
yeah.
not
went
talking
from
about
talking about ghosts to whatever. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
went
goodness.
I
both
just
ways.
Michelle and I come from a different perspective with that. I'll let you take it, Michelle, because I'll come out. Joel's gonna
What
I
were we
never
talking
charge
about? I thought we were starting somewhere.
Pardon me, Lorley.
I'd never charge 500 to somebody, and I do give a
No.
lot of for free because I agree with what you ladies are saying. I think we need
Yeah.
to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Us with something like that. And again, it's no judgment. It's not my job to judge. It's just it
I
really
think it's
cuts
part
out
of
a
that
lot
you
of
have to
people
pay
that could
that.
really use that kind of information that may make help them have some positive information, something that may help them have a better life or
Yeah,
Mhm.
go in the
exactly.
right direction. And when you got charged $25,000 a reading,
Mhm.
you're basically only reading for people that can afford to pay that.
That's
And
true. And
Yeah.
the bitch part
I
is,
don't
she won't even have any qualms telling you that's what she does.
Which,
No, I don't.
I'll
That's
also
fine.
tell you she read
That's
for 10
fine.
years for
so okay, so we're talking like we're all gifted people. So let's kind of get back on track a little bit with spirits. There's a lot of people out there. We talk about spirits who are grounded, and coming from the paranormal. Okay, see now you're looking like it's scary because look at you trying to like grab
Actually,
something.
that's like some softcore porn shit going
I'm
on
just
there
saying,
with
it's
the
like,
hand.
what
Hey,
the
hey, hey,
hell
we
was
see
that?
borderline.
What was
man.
that? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so being in the paranormal industry for as long as I have been, there's a lot of locations that have grounded spirits, and I'm like, you know what, your spirits are happy, or you have a good relationship with them, or some of these places are commercial, some of them aren't. But it raises a question: do we have the right to move spirits over, or if we do move them over, is it taboo? And what about all these researchers that go in and stir things up,
Oh, they're
or
going to hell.
they hear a little girl
Mhm.
on a voice recording, and eventually something follows them home, and like, well, can you clear us because something's followed us home? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what about that poor child? It may not have been a child, might have been something more aggressive. Or where do we draw the line? Should we do it at all, or do we show due diligence and just do it? Like,
How much money these paranormal shows make? A lot of them make big money. Not so much the people that are working the thing, but the
right.
companies are making big money.
Yeah, I'd
And,
like to see them go in there and clear the spirits and help them over.
And some
I think-
researchers or some mediums will say you shouldn't because they have
Oh.
the right to be there. But
I'm
I'm
actually
thinking,
glad you brought that up.
Really?
So there are
Yeah, I've
actually
heard that.
laws. There are actually laws in four parishes down here that you cannot invoke a spirit. You can get 2 years for doing it.
what?
Actually, on the books. Yes,
Oh,
You
to
guys got some
invoke,
weird
right?
ass smoke
Yeah.
To
going through
invoke,
there.
yeah. Well,
right?
Louisiana got a lot of weird laws, like you can't wear flip flops. You can beat your wife on Sunday with a 4-inch belt.
With a
So, I mean,
Well, you
flip-flop?
can't wear flip flops driving here. You'll get charged.
but you see, but can a Canadian man beat his wife with a 4-inch belt on Sundays for an hour? No. But see, down here you can. It's actually legal.
Really?
Figure out how that happened.
Pity the man who ever tried. Just
That's what it is.
freaking saying.
What do you
Okay,
mean, man?
you gotta sleep
Dart your
sometime.
ass.
Just saying.
Just put the dart.
And I don't have to get a lot of sleep in the
But
day.
it cracked me up because when I first read the law, I was like, no way, this is bullshit.
Wow, that's
But it
crazy.
specified that the belt had to be at least this wide so it didn't leave marks.
So I imagine there's a lot of like really angry
That's what I
housewives
said.
getting back and chasing down their like widowed
Oh, man.
husbands. But no, but you know what I'm saying? Where do we draw the line? Do we?
I can agree with that because, first of all, I think we have free will to cross. That's why we have some earthbound or ungrounded spirits. The other thing is, I know of mediums that have been kicked out of paranormal investigation groups because exactly what you said, Amelia, that they wanted to be able to offer these spirits the ability to cross over should they choose. And the people in the group said, no, then there'll be nothing left here to investigate. No,
See, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about right
I'd
there.
walk away if they
Right
said that. I
there.
wouldn't even give them an option to remove me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm out of here and I'll come back when you're not here and I'll just send them all over. That's not
That's
our
kind of what
choice.
I said to her. Why didn't you?
Yeah.
That's what this is
Right?
before I was on UPRN because she was just new to this, but she was really talented and gifted. And I said to her, because she was heartbroken that they got rid of her, they kicked her out of the group. And I said, don't feel heartbroken about that.
You don't want to be
And
in a
I
group like
go
that.
back if you feel you need to go back and
Yeah.
not there.
But see, that's what I'm saying. When does morality kick in? Ethics? When does having a little bit of integrity overrule while there'll be nothing to investigate? I don't know. Don't you just want to do better? Is it
Because they're
all about
living
running
in the
around
moment.
with
Because
the
they're living in the
equipment?
moment.
I stopped doing formal investigations a long time ago because I decided to work with one specific type of haunting or attachment. And I had become versed enough to know what I was looking for, depending on the religious background of the family, because some, if they wanted their church or religion involved, you needed to get, certain evidence, as whatever evidence could be accepted along with, working with doctors and psychiatrists and things like that. It was much more involved. But I didn't need to go around and just investigate these places. I knew it had to be done. If I'm in a public location, it's different. It's more of a laid back thing. But I think somewhere along the line for me, it was more about just doing something and not just leaving them hanging.
And
now, our
helping
house here,
helping
Sorry?
people and they're helping people and they're people in
They're still people.
spirit still.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Lost.
This house
a lot of them
has
lost.
got ascended spirits.
Yeah, that's
They
right.
are here because they want to be here. They are not stuck here. And I probably get more activity from these non-grounded spirits than when they were grounded. Aside from heavy feelings or feelings of sadness
No heavy feeling going on unless you buy me dinner. I'm just saying. Okay, if you're a ghost and not a ghost,
Well,
I'm just being honest.
after that move I saw in the air, I have no interest. I'm just saying.
Just saying, yeah, whatever that was.
That did not look pleasant.
See right there.
It's the claw, man. It's the claw.
That looks
right
painful.
Could be painful.
Joe and three women. Poor Joe. Poor Joe.
Yeah.
Joe.
No, man. I've
only
been,
got
trust
two
me,
hands,
three.
too.
Three. That's okay. It's been worse. Trust me. It's been worse. Trust me. It's I think the most women I've been at Aaron was 7. All hosting this network too, by the way.
Oh wow, that's a lot of
All at
people in
once?
one show.
Yes.
I love your shirt, Laura Lee. Like I can't stop staring at it. I
Oh,
want it.
thank you. You want to hear something really funny? Everywhere I went, I had it on. Today I had to run around. One lady was an elderly lady, and I was in this store. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I love your costume!" Because I was looking for pants to something to match my shirt, and I thought I had flip flops on. Where does Superman wear flip flops and then a costume?
Maybe Supergirl in a different universe. I don't know,
different-
but
yeah,
it's really
different
cute. I
dimension.
like
But
it.
everybody commented on the shirt. I forgot I had it, but it's cold.
It's
up
really cute.
here. Thank you. It's cold because
It's freezing out here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold here. I have the heat on.
You guys, I have to thank you. Well, Joe's popped out because every time I've gone live and I've been losing live people, and I want to say hi to Jeannie. She said hi to all of us. I know you probably
Yes, I
hi
did too. Hi,
Yeah.
Jeannie. Hi, Michelle.
I have
Yeah,
had
okay.
horrible audio. Even when we had our meeting learning how to do this, I couldn't figure out why. So as I was turning everything off, guess what I forgot to always turn off? Sign out of Skype. Because listen to my audio issues.
Yeah, Skype is the worst.
Well, we
Oh,
fixed
God.
it. Yay. Yay. I'm so
Yeah,
happy.
Oh
This is going
wow.
to happen. So thank you.
mind of
Yeah,
its
I should
own.
make sure I'm signed out. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
it was
I never
awful.
signed out of Skype, but it's completely muted.
I was going to say,
I don't
Joe,
have
I
issues
found the
with it at all.
problem when you left. I was signed into Skype That's where the audio issues have been coming from.
Holy
That's not
crap.
in yet. Because I've been
How
harassing Joe.
crazy.
Joe, I need to talk to you before my show tonight.
But
And it
you're
wasn't a
breaking.
spirit.
Don't be breaking shit.
We figured it out. I figured it
Yeah.
out. So thank
No.
God.
Yeah, that's the other night when I restarted. You had helped out some, and I figured you must have had something running in
I
the
was
background.
signed into Skype. I shut everything
Oh
off,
my
and I
God! No
realized
wonder
I was
Skype is
messaging
a.
Michelle back. Oh my goodness, I didn't log out of Skype. That's what it was. No audio issues. We're good now.
Skype
Oh,
will definitely
that's
suck
good. I
power
just
down.
signed out because I had it signed
Jenny, are
in. I
you a
mean, I had
ghost?
it muted, but still I was signed in.
I
See, I
know,
think
but
some of
it's
these people that come in
crackling.
chat are ghosts.
Hmm?
I think we got some ghost chatters, is what I think. It's
Oh, we have
oh yeah. Speaking of that, oh wait, I got to tell you about this weird shit. So
okay.
the other night, so Michelle and I were doing the Gray Zone Saturday, right? And it was people just sending me stuff in chat, just bullshit stuff, nothing important, nothing I was going to bring on the show. So I said, okay, we sign off. We do what we usually do. We get rid of the show so nobody can get it but us. And I come back, and there's literally this much text with me answering everybody back. I ain't even touched the computer. Not even, matter of fact, I wasn't even on this computer. I was on the one over there. Who the fuck is answering me back? And it just weirded me out because now if in this chat, if some like one of y'all was in there, y'all could have answered the chat and hear back because you're here, but not on my personal messenger. And this computer here has got so much security on. I don't even think the Pentagon could get in this bitch to answer it back. So I don't know who was typing back, but it was weird because when I was talking with Michelle, I kept hearing like a key being pushed, but I didn't really pay any attention to it. I thought it was just my
Wow.
fat fingers hit beating up the keyboards. But they
Hmm.
ain't nothing in his
That's
house.
different.
If it is, it came in with. But you know what? In all fairness, now I have been in several old houses in the last two. I've been on. That's
Okay.
another creepy thing. I was on a
Hmm.
roof in the French Quarter the other day, way up. People don't get up on these roofs a lot because they're tender and got asbestos on them and stuff. So I went out on this. They got a little platform where you can oversee Decatur, a really nice place. You watch all the people. It was a great place. So I'm looking for damage on the roofs to report, and it was like I seen somebody walk into a door and just go in. So I said, well, wait, there must be a way to get over there from where I'm at. So I start walking on this slate, trying not to kill myself. Walk around, I said, well, I can't find it this way. So I went back in, went in the window, came out the window on the other side, on the other roof, and walked around looking, never could find the damn door.
Hmm.
But there was prints going through the tar headed to the wall. So
Hmm.
I was talking with the condo commission about it. And she said, oh, yeah, they closed up that wall about 10 years ago, Joe, because somebody's daughter walked out of it in the middle of the night and killed herself, not intentionally. Just walked
Wow.
out the door and she stepped on the roof and it slipped off the slate, flipped over and hit the ground, which was 2 stories down.
Oh, terrible.
So they bricked it up. I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, you seen someone? I said, well, I just thought I seen someone walking in. So that's why I went over there to look. And because of
Sure.
that, I found several key things they need to fix before they have a collapse. And one of the first things I seen was all the air conditioner setup, all the rotten wood was all rotten. I didn't know what was holding them up. Then I went around. There's a wall just soaking water, and I'm like, Jesus, y'all got all kind of damage up here. And I went
Hmm.
over there because from where I could see, I couldn't see. It didn't look like there was any problems with it, so I was just going to walk back in the other way. I went over there. She wasn't over there. It was just a weird, strange thing. Didn't hear. I should have known when I didn't hear the door shut. There was something weird going on. And you
Well,
never know
see,
what you're going to
because
see
those don't
before.
necessarily see things in this time. They might still be seeing it in their time, what they remember last.
Yes.
Some have the ability to see in both. I've worked locations where it's been both, or they get more active, maybe celebrating their,
I just hope
whatever.
she didn't come for a ride home with me. That's all.
Might have,
It was just,
maybe she likes you.
hey,
It's
hey,
all this
ghost.
stuff right
Away
there that
with
you're
the
doing there.
ladies.
Oh,
You
It's
know
all
buddy.
what
this
I saw a
stuff.
video
Got
of
me a big
today?
mama.
There you go.
You know what was crazy? I saw a video of today, speaking of, because there are good spirits. It was from a sleep lab, and they videotape you when you're going for a sleep study.
Right.
And the guy explained the video. They had the graph showing, and they had her on camera sleeping. The graph was showing she stopped breathing. Okay. All of a sudden, you see on camera the outline of a spirit nudge her, and she rolls over and starts breathing again. So I guess she was going to stop breathing. And her husband had passed away years before, so they wonder if it was her husband. But what an incredible thing to catch, because that's not something you'd
That's
be
pretty
looking for.
amazing. No, no, I agree. That's true. That's true. I love when that stuff happens.
Hi,
April
April.
says, yeah, pertaining to when you were talking about whether to send spirits away, as someone who dealt with a presence for a long time, I'm glad he was removed and sent away. Something had to be done.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely. I think if they're creating a lot of havoc and attaching themselves to individuals and being menacing, then absolutely. Then at that point, I think it's like if you're just gonna be an ass, then bye bye.
Well, I lived in a house like that for 11 years,
Yeah,
and we finally moved. I don't miss it.
right.
But somebody reached out to me that works with the kind of entities we believed was in there. I don't know if it's any better or not, but somebody bought the house, and we'll see. But I see what you're saying, April. But I think
Mhm.
what we were talking about, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's these known or well-known haunted locations, or even not well-known, but they
It's
know
just
that it's not
spirits. Yeah, it's
activity,
just
right? That's what
spirits in general, at locations or when you go and investigate a home. I was once asked to come in and investigate a home, and I found out that the homeowner was a habitual, wanted everybody investigating. Now, I understand if you're just trying to get different perspectives because everybody researches and they end up, you might start out the same way, the basics might be the same, but you end up with your own style. You find different things in for sure. This specific woman, it was almost like an addiction. It was not even for the information anymore. She truly believed that the spirit was in love with her and that it was a past life thing. And I'm like, anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible. There was no harm being done. And, I'm thinking that's great. But does it at some point, because we had found out with one of our mediums that this spirit just wanted to be released.
oh,
And this had been brought to her attention many times because you get to know, some of the other people who go in, and she just wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it at all. I was just like, wow, that's so hard. What do you do with that?
that's holding someone hostage, whether or
That's
not
wrong.
they're
I agree.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with you.
that's wrong on so many levels.
I agree with you 100%. And what do you do at that point? Do you just pop them out? Say nothing?
if you knew they wanted to leave, I think I would offer them that opportunity. I've met
Yeah,
people too that are addicted to the attention they get
I
from their
wonder.
paranormal activity, so they do nothing about it. And one person I'm thinking of in particular is a really dark, dark, dark attachment,
Mm-hmm.
and pretends like they'll post online. Well, what do you do when somebody knocks 3 times on your pillow? It's like, hello, you know what's causing this, and it needs to be dealt with. And
Mm-hmm.
but it's not my place. If they're not going to deal with it, I can't force them to deal with it.
It's
Or
complete oppression. Sometimes they
Yeah, I
don't
was
even
just
know.
gonna
They
say.
don't want, when you're in a oppressed situation, you just end up rolling with it. You become very um almost despondent. Like I've had people throughout the years where I have removed their home or the attachment and cleared their homes, and they miss they feel a sense of loss over it, and then they end up getting back into the lifestyle because they want to, you know they want it back. It's like, gosh, like you become so used to it.
Mhm.
It's like living, I tell people, it's like living as a hostage. You become
Yeah.
complacent, you behave, the attacks, ease up.
Stockholm
You
syndrome.
That's
Yeah,
right.
well, they're
And you
conditioned like prisoners.
that's right. You fight back and the activity intensifies, and that's that. So if the idea is you have to fight back, and eventually they back off. They're just bullies. But
Oh,
it's it's really, really tough when you're oppressed. You don't even think that it's a way of life. You're used to it. You don't even think that it can be any different. And it's after a while, it's like, it doesn't bother me. It
it,
does, because you look at your life, it's completely not where you want it to be.
it brings up a huge question. I've heard bishops who are exorcists actually say on our show,
Mhm.
actually say that they will not do an exorcism unless the person has asked for it. Well, at what point do you step in for
Mhm.
that person?
Mhm.
Because they cannot ask for it. Do
True.
they have a moment of
That's tough.
awareness and
Yeah.
you have to wait for that like what I mean, I would love to sit and ask him that again, because
Mhm.
I just thought of it right now when you were saying that. The oppression is a control, and you can't
Mhm.
fight back. You need an advocate.
Yeah, I
So
agree with
how do
you.
you advocate for someone that you're waiting on permission when they aren't completely aware of what's really
Mm.
happening to their spirit, their soul, their body,
No, I agree.
and at least Michelle, she eventually screamed for help, but her parents intervened and called in the priest. Like, at what point? I don't know.
Mm.
That's a hard one.
I know somebody, like I say, with a dark attachment, and they had gone through a really extreme loss. So they were under a lot of stress. They weren't
Yeah.
sleeping. I witnessed this, and so did somebody else with part of the team I was working with. They couldn't even say the word Jesus, God, angel, Michael, archangel, nothing with that. Or they literally would, this entity would take over. And then how do you advocate for them? Because they asked for help, but to even contact somebody like this in the state they were in, now they're in a better place. They still haven't dealt with it. So are you really, you know what I'm saying? But when you're
Yeah,
in
how
the
do you
state
do
that we're
that?
talking about, I believe you do need an advocate. Absolutely.
You do, because it's mindset. If you're not willing to take control yourself
Mm-hmm.
and do the work, I've taught people how to clear their own houses just because my schedule was too heavy for me to get in there right away. So I would work with them over the phone or remotely or email, and a lot of them went on to start their own groups and help other people, because you have to put people back in control. Sometimes people are like, wow, it's just smudging. Yeah, well, it's a technique of how you do it, how often you do it, where you do it. um, no, you can't just do it once and think it's going to be done. I had a complete plan worked out, and it worked, because they had to believe that they were completely in control. You have to give people something to do to get the mindset straight. And it's a power behind the words that you use, whatever those words may
Intention, right?
be. It's the strength and the power of the intention of the act of clearing. Those are the things that matter. And I've just seen people do amazing things on their own
Mm-hmm.
and go on to do for others and paying it forward. And I love to see it. I love to see people get a hold of it. But again, it's up here is where it starts. And that's really difficult if you don't have anybody intervening in there somewhere. Because if you're severely oppressed, it's not even a thought in your head. It might be when you have a lucid enough moment, because it's like a tug of war all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
I
really.
I agree 100% with what you're saying, and I think it's so
Mhm.
important to empower people. I'll be honest
Mhm.
with you, that's how I found out my own gifts. I've realized all my whole life I've used them, and I
Mhm.
kept looking externally for help. And when it was only when I realized, after a lot of reading, talking to different people,
Mhm.
education, it had to come from us. It had to come from within us.
Had to
Understand,
start with you anyway, for
yeah,
sure.
understand about energy
Yeah.
and how energy works, and what raising your vibration is work, that like
Mhm.
attracts like, that you're no longer a match.
Frequencies.
It's
Yep.
things like that, right? And when we empower others, like you said, they can pay it forward. And again, this is with no judgment, and I do charge for readings, but
Mm.
what I don't charge for is paranormal help, because I know
Right.
what situation I was in. I never ever charge for
Never
that.
charge for
Yeah.
anything.
No.
No. No. So I don't know, when you're dealing with regular spirits, I think that there has to be due diligence somewhere. There's a lot of places that charge because they have haunted locations.
Or to travel or whatever, you've got
It
to
is. It's
cost.
I purposely stay in haunted places no matter where I go in the world. Doesn't matter. Um, they're not places that are specifically catering to the spirits. They're just old places that happen to have them. To each his own. It's not up to me. I don't judge. I don't judge at all. It's hard because throughout, I've been doing this going on 19 years. I can't tell you how many researchers have come to me for help because they've worked a case that they weren't experienced enough to work but wouldn't walk away. Too much pride to move it on to someone who could do it, or going in giving bad advice, or basically just wanting to paranormal investigate, not knowing. Like it's not hard to go in with a camera and a voice recorder, but you do have to educate yourself, because I'll tell you something. You know, you're looking for, let's use a little girl or a little child for an example, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose and the researcher's home. Well, it seems to me you may have been dealing with a mimic, or you may have been dealing with something in the background while this child was reaching out to you for assistance. It just bothers me when I see an innocent spirit held back
I agree.
because of something more malevolent behind it. I've worked places like that where, I'd see the family hiding, and you'd hear them in the voice recording saying, hide, hide, it's coming, it's coming. Then you get a growl. I'm thinking, no, that's not right. There's nothing in the fiber of my being that can think that is right to have
We
in
wouldn't
a
allow it
location
in real life.
and profit on. It's not right. If it was your child or your family in that situation, would you feel differently as an investigator? I wouldn't want to know that one of my kids were trapped
Oh God.
going through that. Are you kidding? I'm
Even-
sorry, people. Integrity
Even
somewhere.
the pain that the family's suffering on the other side waiting for this child to come. People
Yeah.
don't realize that. They dismiss it as something, from a movie or from television, and they don't put, I think it's really important to put a name to their soul, to put a history to them and a story, so that they do relate to them as, this is a person.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, just
And I'm not centering out any specific location, because
no.
I've been
We're
through
talking
hundreds of
about
locations,
everything.
throughout the world. I'm just
Yeah.
using that as an example, generalizing that we have to, try to look at these things with a more human perspective. I think maybe if that's the right way to put it.
I think it is. I was
Humanize them.
just
Human.
Yeah,
They are.
definitely, you have to. It's
Right? People without bodies. This is essentially what it is, right?
It's really funny in a strange way, because when you humanize yourself to someone who's trying to harm you in a criminal sense, they back off and they become compassionate, right? They can't hurt you because all of a sudden there's a name, there's a story, you have a family. I believe it's the same in the paranormal. Once you give a name, a story, a family, and a little bit of history, people are more inclined to assist because they can relate and see them in a human way. But that's the first step. It's definitely the first step. We don't have any right to hold them back. That is not our right. I think I believe there is a huge price to pay for that.
There
For
might be.
holding them back.
There might be, for
Especially
sure.
when you're given a gift to assist over.
I agree, and we wouldn't do that to a human being in a corporeal body, if you will. So why would we do that? These are human.
Exactly.
spirits.
Would you leave a child screaming in a park? No, you would try to help that child. So why would you leave a child's spirit, not a child's spirit, but a child spirit? We have to change the way that we label them. It's terrible.
No, that's true. Joe, thoughts? Or you just like lost in la la land
I
somewhere?
think he's working.
Girl talk, he thinks.
I was listening to y'all. I was enjoying listening to y'all. I was just catching up on some typing, actually. It's it's nice. Y'all
Very
got
nice,
through,
Joe,
yeah.
very nice.
Yeah, y'all got good voices. I can chill out and listen,
Mine's half in and out today.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Because you've researched and
Was he listening really though?
you've been
I was listening,
What are your thoughts?
I was listening, but
What he's talking about, he doesn't want to say that.
Yeah.
At first, when I heard Amelia talk about something, I was like, "Oh, what the hell is she talking about there for a minute?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, she's talking about killing people." All right, I said, "Oh, okay."
Oh, the criminal. Yeah.
I was like,
Humanizing the victims.
Well, that's part of what we do. Not what we do, but part of
No,
what other
but about
people.
leaving a child's spirit that's being held hostage,
or just any spirit that's living.
I was thinking about that when you were talking about. So, but children, let's examine children for a minute. I mean, I know children spirit get left behind because I've heard this, that, and the other thing, but I've noticed, like when we go to graveyards, because down here there's a lot of graveyards with children in them because lots of plagues came through back in the day. Mm-hmm. But I don't ever really see, feel, or hear, and not just me. Most people don't. Usually, it's adults of some sort. Maybe because children are still playful enough that they can cross over without really thinking about it. But I imagine if anything horrific is still horrific, you're not going anywhere.
Or maybe you're looking for your parents.
Yeah, maybe you're looking for your parents, or maybe you're hiding from the person who abused you. Mm-hmm. You know, we were talking about a spirit that haunts a particular. It's a woman that haunts a particular house in the quarter, and it was said that her daddy used to rent her out to his friends.
Mm.
And one day she just committed suicide. She just had enough and committed suicide. And they say when women are in the house, she'll come out and she'll even be kind of playful and move around, move stuff around the house. You can see her moving around. But anytime you see a man walks in the house, all you see is a wisp. So she'll be standing there for a second, but as soon as she sees a male, she's a wisp. And she does not come out as long as they're there. She won't do any noise, make any noise at all. So the lady who rents the house, who actually sold the house, told the people who bought it. He said, as long as there's more than one or two males walking around the house or in the house, she won't manifest herself. She said, but I wanted y'all to know in case your husbands or your sons are gone, she is playful with women. She likes to come out. She's even been known to sit like at the stoop of the stair and want to chat. But she won't leave. And there's been several people down there tried to get her to leave. And she'll disappear for a while, but then she just like phases back in. It's a weird story. And then there's there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of stories in New Orleans where young women ended up badly, for all sorts of reasons. But there's a lot of them that seem to be haunting. And there's also a large black population that seems to be haunting the quarter, because a lot of slaves were killed down there. Not so much because the slaves were. See, it's always weird to me when I hear northern people talk about slavery, because they really don't have a clue what slavery was. So, all you hear is all this horror all the time. Well, that's not exactly true. Buying a slave was like buying a Bentley. They weren't cheap. When you went to the slave market, they weren't cheap. It was like spending in today's market, it would be equivalent to spending about $25,000 or $35,000 per person. They were bid on. The bigger they were, the better they were, the more they went for. Women were the same way. If they looked like could bear a lot of slaves, they would have them. So what they were more interested in is making them obey. So as long as the slave was cooperative, they actually had benefits. They could hang out, they could do things, they could have parties, they could have fields, they could have children. They just couldn't leave and go anywhere other than the master's home without their permission. But even then, sometimes they could leave. A lot of them were allowed to go places and pick up stuff. It's not what we were taught originally. What I was taught originally was, they just beat him, killed him, raped him all the time. Well, that's not really true. A lot of slave masters were nothing like that. A lot of them, see, this is what America forgets, or the world forgets. A lot of these people were good people. This was just something that was okay at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they should have known better, even though because they were good people. And a lot of writings down here, a lot of books you can get down here, you will hear people write like wives of slave masters and stuff, like talk about the indignity to the slave and stuff like that and how they felt about it. But in that world, it was acceptable. To this world, it's not. But in that world, it was.
But it still wasn't their choice to be there either way.
Oh, no, it was never their choice to be there.
We're talking about spirits being held against their will.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, slavery goes back,
long ways. It's not
thousands
just
of
here
years.
either. Yeah.
I mean,
well, as far as I know, there's not
it doesn't make it
we-
right.
we,
Unfortunately,
Long
it was
before the Romans.
an atrocity that happened. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
I was
Yeah.
invited to a
Still
show on
happening.
slavery a couple of months ago.
Hey,
and
Dave. Nice to see
Dave.
you.
Hey, Dave. But I was invited to a show about slavery a couple of months ago. And we were talking. A good black friend of mine was on. He said, "Well, y'all don't understand. Whites were never slaves. That's not true. Whites were slaves, just like how Asians were
There's still
slaves.
slavery going on.
Yeah. So so there's no race on this planet that hasn't been incorporated slaves. And if you were part of the Roman slave empire, they lasted 2,000 years. It's not like America where you were a slave for 50, 80 years and then you were freed in another 80 years to get where you are today. Back then, there was none of that. You were a slave, your children were born a slave, your grandchildren were born a slave, and so on and so forth. Now, you could work your way out in the Roman Empire either by winning in enough battles or making yourself, if you had really good hands or you were a good carpenter or a good cutter or something, you could get your freedom. But still, none of it was right. But unfortunately, somebody said, well, America was built in slaves. Well, no, actually, America was built on Asians. I hate to be the one that wants to argue that fact.
It's true.
Slaves might have brought the plantations into being, but they didn't bring the railroads into being or any of the great cities. So it's always a misnomer when you hear those things. But that's our media today and how they portray things. So it's weird for us because we'll see, like, if you're in the quarter, there will be slaves who have died there and have stayed. But there'll also be Asians and Vietnamese, people who came over in the ships looking for a new place. Also, a lot of women who had been brought here to be wives, indentured servants. Well, you might as well said slaves because they couldn't leave until they paid off their debt. And sometimes the debt was so high it was never going to happen. But a lot of women were brought here to marry the pioneers. and the church was into it. That's a bitch part. The church was bringing them over from Europe by the hundreds, and I won't say they were being sold. What they were doing is somebody would come up and pick up their debt to the church for bringing them over, and then you belong to that person until such time you paid that debt off. But you didn't get any say in how you were going to pay the debt off. Meaning, like, so is my time worth 50 quadrues, 90 quadrues, 100 quadrues? No, that's up to them. You didn't get a say in that. So he wanted to pay you 5 cents a day. I mean, you're basically a slave for life. You're not getting out of there. And no, they weren't. These are white women. These weren't brown women. These are white women we're
There's
talking
still
about.
slavery today going on.
Oh
When
yeah, there is still
they're
slavery
taking
today
all
going.
kinds of stuff.
It's
Mm.
it's a strange thing, but when you look around the world and you see the different places where we've had slavery and what it's done and where it is today, and the thing in 2021 we still have slavery is just ridiculous.
Yeah, we do. We
Uh,
have it's trafficking.
Yeah.
It's
oh yeah, we have
labor and
lots of
it's
sex
sex
It's a different
trafficking.
trafficking.
name for it.
No, but
Yeah.
it's also but there's also trafficking of slaves. They're labor. They're putting them in hotels. They're taking people without papers, and
Well, it's weird because
they're
the number one slave were women for a long time. Now it's young men.
well, it's all. There's children as well.
Yeah, but they were talking about this, and the FBI was talking about this the other day. It's
Yeah,
the majority of people being taken today are men between ages 9 and 15.
very much so. And you know why?
Yeah, we
Especially
know
for
it.
sex trafficking. And I don't
Oh
want to stay
yes.
on it too long. It's because it's legal in the eastern part of the world. I won't say what country because I don't want to start anything.
Oh
But
yeah,
it's
there's several
actually
countries that's
legal, and
illegal in.
so they put
Oh
them
yeah,
in
there's
containers and they ship them over. I've been in sex trafficking, working that since God knows when.
yeah, there's lots of things that are illegal in the Asian world that's
I
not legal in
watched
the
a
way.
documentary that came up on my YouTube feed. I wasn't looking for it. It was in Polish, and they put English subtitles, and it's
Hmm.
called Through the Eyes of the Devil. And when you see what happens over there, some of the things you've just mentioned, Amelia, I
Yeah,
don't know how it's ever going to end. And it's when you see the creative ways that they've done this to continue with this. So yes, it's very much alive. And somebody put in the chat, Jeannie, that's disgusting. It's happening in 2021. You are absolutely right.
absolutely. And southern Canada's got a big highway for it that leads into the states, and it's a whole other show. But
Oh, it
anyway,
is definitely a
yeah,
whole other
it's a
show.
whole other show. I did a lot of shows on that, but it's a line of work that I work as well. So the furthest away that I ever worked in sex trafficking of a child and saving one was Thailand to recuperate a young boy. So
Well,
or recover. Sorry.
Jared just said that you just finished talking about slaves getting paid 5 cents per day back in the day. Tell me, how has it really changed over the years? I mean, really,
Oh,
when
it's definitely changed. I mean, down here it has. I see. That's another thing that's a big problem in our country. Northerners see blacks one way, Southerners see them another way. So they always want to say South is racist. That's not even close to true. Let's see, Atlanta, one of the biggest cities in the country, New Orleans, almost all the big southern states are black controlled. Or big cities are black controlled. They're not white controlled. We had to learn how to get along with each other 30 years ago, whereas the North is just starting to learn how to get along. It's just
That's
one of those
sad.
things. The
But
majority of blacks live in 4 states in the United States: Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida, and that's where the majority of them live. And that's just hard, deep South states. But like I said, over the years, we've all learned how to get along. And when the principality is being controlled by blacks, whites have no choice but to play the game correctly. So down here, we've learned, we've moved on, and we've moved on to something else. When you see black white relationships in the South, it's much different. We don't look at a black white relationship; we're just friends. But anywhere else in the country, it's not defined as friends; it's defined as a black white relationship. So there's a lot of things that the media just won't want to portray the way it really is, but that's what it is. So I think there's less hatred here now than there used to be. So maybe it's pushing something that goes somewhere else, maybe to Texas. Yeah,
I
Texas.
I wonder how many shipyards are haunted because so much
A
crime
lot.
happens on the docks, and
Yeah, it's not just that. So many
talking
people
about the
dying.
sex trafficking in the containers and how many people are dying in these containers in these long travels. Not just ships, but I mean shipyards must
Yeah,
be
but in the
really
old days,
haunted, right?
until recent times, ship fitters died on a regular basis. People falling off of beams, things blowing
Yeah.
up, knocking them over. So you had all of that. You have big combination things that were going on. And then, of course, if you were working the storm when it came in, like, see, 40 years ago, they wouldn't have known what Ida was. And it would have been too late to get off them docks and them ships.
Mhm.
You'd be dead. So all of that comes to be, and all of that plays. But then it seems like every once in a while something shifts or moves it around, or maybe like when something gets indulged with salt water completely, maybe it flushes them out to somewhere else, or maybe they just pass on to
I
wherever.
don't know because you hear so many spirits at lighthouses. There's tons of salt water there,
Because they're
right?
stuck in the lighthouse, they can't go nowhere. That's why they died there. Now they're stuck there because they're surrounded by salt. They can't get out. But it's not exactly true because most lighthouses are not islands; they're little mini peninsulas. So if there's that road to get out of there, they can always go out the road to get out. But a lot of lighthouses are you have to take a boat to get to them. Actually, there's one I like to go stay at. I've stayed at a couple times. It's really, really nice. The light still works on top of the lighthouse too. It's a cool little place. They don't use them anymore because everything's done by ship navigation, by electronics now. But it's still nice to see them out there lighting up. The one down here in Biloxi lights up every night, even in the fog. But I'll tell you what, I realized something. They had that thing lit up one night. It was foggy as F down here. And I'm like, you could barely, we're on the road, you could barely see. There ain't no way no ships was seeing this thing. I was like, yeah, they're going to run aground. I imagine quite a few will run aground right there. But there is a lot of haunting. And down here, like in Biloxi, it's,
I
it's
tell my daughter.
there's a lot of hauntings in Biloxi. And like I said, you've got the old Beauvoir Manor down there from the Confederacy Wars, and for the president of the Confederate. See, as I imagine, there were several people executed there and things along those lines. And there are areas throughout the South where there were people executed in mass, for whatever reason, whether it was the war, whether it was slaves, whether it was something else. The rule was in the South if a slave escaped twice, you just killed him, you didn't bring him back. You might bring a part of him back to show everybody, but you didn't bring him back. Or I say him, it could be her too. But if you look at the registry roll, see that's another thing Louisiana has. It's very unique. Is we have the slave registry rolls, so they actually know who died and who didn't, and when they died and when they didn't. It was actually reported and recorded, which I found most interesting. So it showed some of them lived to be ripe old 60, 70 years old, living longer than the master did. You figure it out. So it's a strange thing all the way around. All I know is if they'd been slaving me, I'd have got killed second time. I'd have been like Toby running for it. Every time I'd have had a defense. They'd have to whip me till I died because there ain't no way, buddy. I'm out of here. Yeah, that's just how it is. It's but all along the riverbanks all haunted for sure. And when you look from the bottom of the river to Baton Rouge today, it's way different than it was 200 years ago. All of that was settled all the way up to Baton Rouge because everybody settled right on the edge of the river. Now we got big ass 30-foot levees there, so they can't settle right on the edge of the river. They got to move inland. So it's changed not just the way it looks, the way it acts, but anything that might have been haunted has been destroyed and dumped into the river, or taken
Mm.
off and buried in a swamp somewhere.
Okay, so here's a question for you, Joe.
uh,
Let's say the house is haunted, okay, and let's say a storm comes in, that house rolls into the water.
Mhm.
Let's say the spirit is attached to that house or something that was into that house. Do you think the spirit will go with those possessions no matter where it is, or do you think it will stay on the land?
well, if it's freshwater, it may stay or it may go. If it's saltwater, it's got to leave no matter what. So
But how do you know? Why does salt work on spirits per se? We know it works on malevolent entities,
it works
but
in any
why do
spirit, from
you
what I
think it would
understand.
work on a spirit?
From what I understand, it works in any spirit. It's something
Mm.
about it. It's something. It's something about the salt being the root of earth or something. It'll
Mm.
burn any spirit. Good or bad. It doesn't. From what we were taught a long time ago, we were taught it didn't matter if it was good or bad. It would still burn the spirit, and
Mm.
that's why it was so important to make sure what you were dealing with ahead of time, so you didn't do harm to something that wasn't doing harm to you. Because some spirits are not malicious, but they can be a pain in the ass. Move keys around, knock things over, just screwing around in general. Not so much like a poltergeist where a bunch of shit's going on, but one or two, three, four things. Perfect instance. So the other night we go to bed, and then I left the remote in the middle of the bed. That's where it was. We got up in the morning, and it was under the chair in the back of the room somehow. I'm not sure even sure how to get. I said, well, maybe baby dog jumped out the bed with it last night and took it for a ride. But since it's as long as she is, I'm not really feeling that's what happened. But could have been one of us got mad and flung it over there. I doubt it because it probably got broke. But it's just weird stuff like that happens from time to time. This house has always had little weird stuff that's happened. But I mean, Katrina was completely under 22 feet of water. So, and I think what really happened is when the owner of the house passed away when he died. This was after the storm, and he died suddenly in his sleep. Just poof, he went to bed, didn't wake up the next morning, and devastated his wife. So, I think he tried to hang on to the house for a while. Because weird shit would have like I was opening a can of strawberry, broke a finger. A couple of times the house just whacked the piss out of me, doing different stuff. So it's I think for a while he just it was like, it's my house. I mean, he put a lot of himself in it, rebuilding it. And, they had a restaurant in New Orleans. Actually, had 2 restaurants in New Orleans. And his wife was a teacher, and they were doing pretty good for themselves. And she went and helped me with the restaurant. He just, he wasn't around the same age as me. He just went to sleep, didn't wake up the next morning. So I don't think he was ready to go is what the problem was. And recently I was told one of the new owners of the restaurant told me that they feel the restaurant is haunted for sure. She had actually called me and asked me if I'd ever met the husband before. I said no. I said I know his wife and her dad, but I've never met him. And she wanted to know who. She actually called the lady and asked her if it could possibly be her husband. And she's really, really Catholic, so she just did not even want to talk about it. I mean, she's like serious Catholic. I mean, like all of us were at one time when we first started out. But she's not going there. Her mom was in seminary. Her dad met his mom. She was a nun. And married her, and they had children. Yeah, so it was the whole thing was the same way I got the house was a strange deal. It was meant to be here, so it was a strange thing. We always talked about when we used to do witchcraft that if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. If you're meant to have something, the universe will find a way to give it to you. Well, we'd been house shopping for 2 years and couldn't find anything we like or anything we could afford. And especially we didn't think we were going to get anything on Mahali Bayou in past Christiana, Mississippi. It's one of the richest areas in both states. And I mean, literally, everybody who lives around me is living in houses from $1 million to $5 million a home. The 2 homes they just built next to me are about $700,000 each. So when he called me and asked me if I wanted to buy it, I was like, yeah. I was actually planning on making it a weekly rental. I wasn't even going to move into it, but no, some dumbass brought his wife up here, and that was. So, well, I brought up we used to come stay on the weekends, and no, it's bad on my part. But I didn't really mind the drive. It's only 50 minutes of driving, so and for me, it's nice because I can get on the phone in the morning, I get on the phone in the evening, and talk to people I need to. Like yesterday, I talked to Michelle all the way back to the afternoon, and it's just a way I get everything. But it just it just fell in. It was meant to be. I mean. First, he told me, go fix the house. Then he told me $450 a month, like for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on the water on the coast. Yeah, $450 a month, whatever. You lucky you get that for a night, much less a month. And then when he called me up and said, "Look, 750, 5%, your house. Come sign the papers." 5% was a little high, but $750 a month. I was like, "Sure, I'll sign the papers." I mean, I can always refinance it. For some reason, I feel guilty if I refinance it at like 2%. Because it cuts her out of a lot of money, but she'll get like 130,000 lump because I think that's what I owe 120 lump. But but if I pay it the full term out, it'll be like 350. So I don't know. Part of me just feels guilty for doing it. It's just a weird thing, but for right now, I just leave it the way it is. I'm fine with it. As long as I can. So, where you get a house note for $750? I mean, really, that's unheard of anywhere. I mean, you can't even get a house note in the ghetto in New Orleans for $750 a month, much less in the Gulf Coast. Now, if you move in like
get a bedroom apartment where I live for that price.
No, I mean you can't. You go up to like Hattiesburg or somewhere, maybe find one.
No, you're the first one that gets hit in storm season.
Yes, we are. It's well worth it because of where we live. Like the other night, I was sitting in my living room doing something, and I looked up, and out of both my big windows in the back, all I could see was this orange red hue of the sun setting over the Gulf.
Nice, yeah.
So I was like, I actually told my lawn guy,
life is good.
I told him come cut all the shit off the bayou so I can see my bayou again, and I'm thinking about adding in not a full third story, but a half third story, so I can put a widow's walk.
A widow's walk.
A widow's walk.
Yeah.
So I can widow, witch, whatever. Same thing.
Yeah, in New Orleans, okay, witch's walk. It could work.
Widows are usually happy.
Widow's witch. What's the difference, man? I'm just saying. But anyway, so
Whatever.
because I can see the Gulf set. I could actually see the ocean from up there. See here, I can see all the water in the bayou and down. I can see down the bayou to the water, but I don't want to be able to see up and over it. Because for some reason they decided to build a big bridge to the left of us. I'm like, yeah, really? There's a downside to it and there's a good side. One, the downside is it blocks my view partly, but any big wave coming through there, it will break the wave so it don't knock my house over. So
Well, there you
that's a
go.
plus.
There you go.
Yes, this is
So
the
you
only
were in the
house.
Gulf. Like, do you ever see any ghost ships?
Yeah, it was called.
Really?
It was
You're saying
called.
Cool.
that,
It was called Treasure Bay.
Really?
Yeah, it come floating in every night. Casino.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
serious. It was an old pirate ship. Right, I got pictures. I'll have to show you. It's on one of the pages. So it's an old pirate ship. I got pictures of it in the fog. It looks like something haunted, like you wouldn't believe.
Ooh.
I mean, it looks seriously haunted. And you're looking at it, and all of a sudden, all the lights come on, and you're like, "Whoa, what the hell was?" It's the casino pulling in, man.
Okay, so not a real ghost ship. Okay, there
It's
we go.
I don't
I
know. They
thought
thought it
you
was a good
said
ship.
though, Joe. I thought it was talking to you one day. It was after my show. Maybe it was somewhere else where you live that there was some ghost ships you had seen.
Yeah.
No, we've seen some. We
I
see
thought he
well.
said it. Maybe it was on.
One of the pictures. Well, there's 5 pictures up, and there's 2 of them at this casino. You can tell the difference in the style of the ships, but there's a picture. There's 3 pictures we took. Where were we? We were somewhere on Biloxi Bay, just a long, long, long time ago. And we took them with an old Polaroid camera. It was just looked like an old Spanish galleon coming in the fog. And we first had thought, because they do replicas around here and stuff. Man, they built a restaurant that looks like that because it's a classy thing. So a classic thing, not classy. Sorry. And I looked at it. The first ship, the first picture, I took it. I had to wait for the damn, waving the thing in the air, drying off the picture. And then I took another picture, and as it was going on the bridge, I took another picture. Well, there's no one on deck in any of your pictures. No one anywhere.
Wow.
You can see the wheel, and it's moving. And this thing went right under the Biloxi Bridge, right where it's supposed to, right in a deep channel. Went right in between the things, and then disappeared. I don't know, another 200 yards in. But the fog could identify we're on Biloxi Bay, and the fog sometimes can get within 5 feet. You can't see it. You do like this, you lose your hand. I tell you what's cool though, when the fog is really intense down here, you go driving down Highway 90 on the beach, and the casinos lighted up in all these wild colors. I mean, you'll be driving, looks like UFOs landing out there or something. Not Treasure Bay. I forgot the name of the damn thing. It's got the whole casinos lit up with LEDs, and they'll do like Mardi Gras colors when it's Mardi Gras, red, white, and blue for the holidays. But they do all kind of colors. They like to light it up purple because when the fog comes in, it lights up like a purple haze for like 2 miles around the place. It is cool looking. It's cool looking when you're out there. And you're like, what? First time I seen it, I didn't know what it was. When we first, not this time, but before we moved here the first time, I was driving. I'm like, what the hell is that? It kept weirding me out because I didn't know what the hell it was until I got up close to it. I'm like, oh, it's a casino. All right, that's cool. Yeah, I think ET likes casinos. It's free booze. Yeah, it's free booze. They don't know if they like the game, but I think they like the free booze. Yeah, give me free booze. Well, it's weird because I talked to 2 bartenders at the old Grand Casino. Both of them told me they seen something weird out the back because where the casino was set up, you could see out the back side of the windows. Not many casinos have windows, by the way, but this one had some windows in the bar, so you could actually see out the back. And it was really pretty outside. And he said he thought he'd seen a couple of things out there a couple of times, and then I've met a couple of police officers down here and before that said they have seen some things. Just a side note, Linda and I went to go watch a meteor shower. This is 30 years ago, no, 20 years before Katrina, like 3 or 4 years before Katrina. So we were living in New Orleans at the time. We drove up here, not far from where one of the casinos are today. Pull on the side of the road and hook up my camera, put it on the pod, and got it facing up to the sky. And all of a sudden, these 2 guys, 2 different cars pull up like this. My car's parked at the beach. One zips up behind me, one zips up in front of me, like cops would do. So they get out the car. I'm thinking they're cops for sure, but they're dressed in plain clothes. Still look like cop cars. I mean, they started asking all kind of questions. We get to talking, and I get to telling them what we're out here. I still have the conversation. You could actually hear it over the camera system. And we get to talk, and I told them what we were listening. We're just out star shooting, hoping you might see a UFO or something. And they start telling me about things they've seen. Then he starts telling me about this set of stairs that just appeared. There's an old house that died that burned down in the swamp. Huh. And he starts telling me about this set of stairs. It just appears, and there'll be like the old people staying there, and then it just disappears. He said, "You don't see the house behind it, just the stairs."
Hmm.
And his friend said, "I've seen it." And then he told
Wow,
a bunch of our other friends have seen it. He went on and on about it.
that's crazy.
And I didn't know if they were if the cars, they were trying to mug us, whatever it was, because I was out there with Linda and the kid. And at that time, Joe was like, I don't know, 2 or 3. And I didn't have to shoot no cops. It would have been a bad scene. But they seemed to be cool, and they talked to us. They were out there for a good 2 hours with us. And the whole conversation's on the camera, which is crazy. And then the night, not far from there, about 10 miles up the road from there on NASA land, the night we heard what sounded like the horses screaming, and 3 of us seen something, and the other 3 didn't. And you can hear the whole conversation because a lot of times when I'm out there, I have the cameras running, and you can hear the whole damn conversation about what's going on. So you get 3 people here talking about what their experiences is, and it's crazy experience, and you hear the other 3 not 10 feet away talking about how pretty the night was and what's going on, what they're going to be doing tomorrow. I mean, the whole thing is surreal. Because you can hear the stress and the frustration and what's going on. You can even hear what sounds like some kind of ominous clicking sound like the Grays make. It's just weird. And then yet the 3 in the front are just completely oblivious to everything that went on. Completely.
Hmm.
It's weird. I don't know what it was, but it was weird, 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 and weird. And but that whatever that was screaming that night, I still remember that night. Whatever this was, it sounded like somebody was cutting a horse up alive. I mean, it was just
Oh,
Oh,
screaming.
Oh,
that's
And
horrible.
I don't think that's what it was, but it was just screaming.
Oh, I can't handle that.
And then all of a sudden, the 3 of us just got like, because the other 3 had already left. The other 3 of us were like, well, you know what? Boot me out of here. And we jump in the car and we take off. And all kind of surreal stuff happened in between. I'm not going to talk because we only got a couple minutes, but we decided to stop at Waffle House and eat. Linda is laughing her ass off the whole time. She is so mad she was going to punch the damn girl out who's bringing her food. And I was just in a state of like, what the just happened to us? Something happened. And Linda and the bitch post, because Linda had been telling us all that, yeah, you're going to go screwing around, you're going to go screwing around out there, and something will get you. You just keep on going. She when it has, I'm going to start laughing. And she did. She laughed the whole night, all the way till we got home. And it was like 2 hours home. I was like, what is going on with you? And Gia was just unbelievably mad. And I was just, I don't know how to explain it. I was just like numb. I wasn't mad. I wasn't angry. I wasn't happy. I wasn't sad. I was just numb. It was like somebody had just turned off my emotions. It was a very strange
were
night.
you grabbed? Do you
So,
think, or did you just?
well, so we all decided, well, we're going to go regress. None of us would allow the other one to regress. Not even if it was somebody outside the group. We all said we wanted to, but when we came right up to it, we wouldn't do it. And today, just recently, I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, man, I need to get regressed. And he said, I'll do it. And I just got angry, like, no, blah, 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 F this, no. And that was it. He said, what I do? I said, you didn't do anything. Just whatever it is that happened, they don't want anybody finding out. They don't want us finding out, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, we got to get out of here. Amelia, tell everybody you love them.
I love you guys.
Not these guys, the audience. We already know you love
I
these
love
guys.
all of you.
It did not sound sincere for some reason. I'm not feeling
It's
the
very
love.
sincere. I love our audience.
And I sent you a
If we
hug
didn't
earlier,
have
and
an
I still don't
audience,
feel
I mean,
love.
we wouldn't be here. So I
true.
love all of them.
Laura Lee, tell them where they can find you because you're going to be coming up in about an hour, huh?
Yeah, in about an hour. So you can listen in on the Angel Rock. I have Karen Holton coming on tonight. We will not be on YouTube. It's that kind of discussion. So you may want to join.
Okay.
We'll be on
I'll
Facebook.
turn it off when we get going, yeah.
So I'll be on at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m., maybe a little after, depending when the Horsefly Chronicles is able to come up right next. And thanks, guys. Love you all. Thank you for having me on with you guys tonight. Love doing this with you.
Michelle, plug away, honey.
Oh, the Outer Realm this coming Wednesday, Thursday night, 8 to 10 Central, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. This Wednesday, Amelia and I are just having one of those fun nights. So the show is sort of going to go based on all the Q&A that you guys have been sending in or will be sending in. The last time we did it, it was crazy, and lots of requests to do it again. So we're going to do it again.
Hey, Dan.
And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys tune in for that one. Our guests are always amazing. And don't forget, Joe and I next Saturday on the Gray
Yes, on
Zone.
Saturday, yes.
5 to
That's
7
about the only
Central,
place
6 to 8 Eastern.
y'all got lucky and caught me tonight. This is the first time I've done this show in a month.
Yeah.
And, you can catch me with Michelle most of the time, but there's been a lot of weirdness going on there.
You
The
did the show
Wednesday
last
shows
week.
too.
All him.
Yeah, that's what I said. Wednesday's
Squirrely
hard.
man. It's all him.
You did the
Wednesday's
show
hard.
last week. I was on it.
I know we was on the show. We didn't say. I said that's what. I've only done 2 shows with her in the last month and a half.
Hmm.
It's been tough, man. They working me like. See, I feel like one of them slaves, but I get. Well, no, I don't. 'Cause I get paid good for it, so I can't say that. But anyway, I was gonna say, no, I'm actually being paid pretty good for what I'm doing. So, Derek, how you been, Mr. White Cloud? Ain't seen you in a while.
Hey,
I
Derek.
thought a thundercloud. Got
I
you
said
or something.
hi. I don't know if you heard me. I said hi. I said
Thunder.
Yes.
Anyway, we got to go, guys. Coming up next is the Horsefly Chronicles with Phil and Julie Syracuse. Be sure to check them out. I did know who their guest was, but it completely went out of my head now. So, but anyway, they'll be on about 6 or 7 minutes. Be sure to hang out, catch Laura Lee later on in Angel Rock. I will not be, Wednesday. I don't think I'll be live, guys. Next Friday, depending on where the People's Choice Awards are, we may be doing politics. Maybe.
Yay! It's been a long time.
Because I haven't done it in like a month and a half now.
I know. Lots to talk
having
about.
withdrawals. Oh, be sure to watch this tie. You'll see it on TV in just a couple of weeks. Along with some other,
Just the tie.
Just
that's what it is. Just the tie.
Watch for the tie.
They're paying me good just to wear the tie. Oh wait,
tie
no,
we'll
I'm
be
sorry.
wearing, Joe.
It's the tie. It's the tie and the hanky will actually be there. So that's all.
We'll be wearing, Joe. 2 in a
Are you
bed.
going to mention quickly about Halloween? We haven't talked about it yet. I haven't had a chance to talk to you.
Yes. Well, I will know.
What
I
day
will know
is
somewhere.
Halloween on?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Oh, it's a Monday?
It's a Sunday, ain't it?
Well, that's good because I have to do public speaking on the Saturday.
Okay.
Is it? I thought it was a Sunday.
Before
I
No,
came up
the
with
show.
an idea.
Before
So
Grace
we haven't firmed it up yet, but hopefully
Oh yeah, it's Sunday. Yeah, no.
all of us, if you can, whoever can join in.
Halloween is Sunday, people.
Yes.
Anyway,
Do.
it's good. It's going to be a Sunday, and more than likely, we're going to be doing some stuff that Sunday because I think I'll be home by then. They're trying to blackmail me with money, and not blackmail me, bribe me with money to stay for a little while longer. Not John and then somebody else. They got a conference.
Our whole network is based around Halloween. What's wrong with you?
It's
I
hard.
know.
It's hard to
I
miss Halloween.
contacted
We'll
him.
do it
I
without
don't do
him.
things Sunday, so if he
Well, yeah,
wants
no, that's true too.
do it.
If for some reason I'm not here, y'all do have access. All
That's
y'all
it.
can get
I'll
together.
do it and get
So
it.
I'll know by the 22nd whether I'm going there or not. I mean, I'm going to LA no matter what from the 19th to the 23rd or 24th. But I'm sorry, from the 18th to the 24th. But I'll be out in LA. But I'm if I stay longer, it won't matter because we'll make plans before that, whether I'm here or not. So
I should dress up in bubble wrap. They call me bubble.
Well, you know what?
whole
I got to
network.
thinking
We
if
gotta
y'all are
do
doing
it.
something and I'm not here, I can always dress up in a costume.
Look
maybe
at how much fun we had New Year's Eve.
I know, and then I can always beam myself into the
Good Lord.
conversation. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yes.
That was fun.
Yes, it was.
Good
Yeah, we had a good time.
Lord.
But anyway, we got to get out of here because I know
Bye,
they're looking
everybody.
for
See
me.
you in an hour.
Bye, bye, guys. Dad, Trevor, see
Bye,
y'all
Lori.
later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.